negative coordinates use negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so that means we'll go to the graph, and where x is equal to negative 1, we'll follow it up to the graph, and we'll find out what's the x value at that location. Okay? Do I have the correct one going on here? Oh, negative 1, not positive 1. I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. I wanted negative 1. Okay, so at negative 1, I'm going to go down and I'm going to plot the point that has a negative 1 x value on that line. And what is its y value? Negative 3. Negative 3. So we're kind of working backwards. Instead of getting the ordered pair name and putting that point on the graph, we're getting the point from the graph and putting it in our xy table. So now we're going to go to where x is equal to 0. And where x is equal to 0, what is the y value for that ordered pair? 0. Okay, now you get the other two. Okay, what'd you get when x is equal to 1? 3. Okay, so this point is ordered pair 1, 3. So this matches with what we're putting in the table, basically. And what is the y value when x is 2?
6.
6. Okay. So I'll go up here and name this one too on the graph. Because the next thing we're going to do is, if we have to write an equation for that line, then we're going to need to also have, we're going to need some other information other than just the table, okay? So this table creates that graph, so they're related to each other. Yes, Harley? Did you want to give it away already? You got it? Yeah, we need to do the slope, right? We need to find m. Okay, so we're going to do rise over run. Let's just do this right here on our graph. Rise over run. And I'm going to use those 2 points that I actually put their ordered pair names on the tape on the graph. So I'm going to go between ordered pair 1, 3 and ordered pair 2, 6. How much do we have to rise? What's the rise? What's the rise? 3. We have to go up 3. Okay, let's put that on our graph like this. 1, 2, 3. We have to go up 3. That's our rise. Now to get, we rise, we either go up or we go down, depending on where we're starting. And we count how many units. If we go up, it's positive. If we go down, it's negative. Okay, and then we have to go to the right how many units? 1 unit. So plus 1 is our run. So we can just put 1. We don't have to put a positive 1. Put a positive sign. And now that actually, rise over run, is the same as little m. So let's just call it m. M equals, can we divide 3 by 1? Yeah, what is it? 3. So we now know the slope of our line, don't we? Okay, what's the other thing we need to be able to write the equation? Harley? We need the b value. How do we get the b value from the graph? The b is the run?
Yeah.
What do you think, class? Is the b the run from the slope? What is the b then? Where do we get it? How do we get the b then? Help me out. I'm not going to give it away. I already told you this yesterday. I only tell it once. Then I make you, remember it. Danny? It's the y-intercept. Okay, so what does that mean? What does y-intercept mean then? How are we going to get it? We can't write the word y-intercept in our equation, right? Sammy? The number you multiply x by is m. Isn't x being multiplied by, okay, I think we need to go up here and circle this again, okay? So this is what we're supposed to write our equation in y equals mx plus b form. Well, the multiplier on x is called m, and we just found m to be the what? The slope of 3, didn't we? So our multiplier is 3. So that's not our y-intercept, that's not our b value. It's our b value. Y-intercept, what does that mean? Get out your signals, come on. Seriously, I'm not just gonna keep dishing out information and you not remember it. Exchange both ways, demo. Sarah. Oh, maybe it was the day before. Well, yesterday was kind of helpful too, but you know, I guess there was no graphing going on that either. Maybe the day before. How about lesson, what would that be? 11, okay. How about lesson 11? Does that help you any? No, that doesn't help either? Well, then maybe we're going to, in desperation, see if we can find another set of notes that'll help us. The y-intercept, where does it give that away? I know we talked about this, so I guess, you know, you're going to have to see if you can do some critical thinking from your notes if you didn't write anything extra. Okay, Tuesday's notes over. What do you have there? Yeah, that's the one that, okay, B is the y-intercept. Okay, so let's look at lesson 11 notes. Would you look at those, please? And on the very front page of it, it says B is the y-intercept. Okay, so what did we say the y-intercept was for number 1? 2. Tell me something about how we got 2. How do you think we got that? Or maybe we should even include number 2. Look at number 2. We said that the y-intercept is what? -4. Well, how do we get that? Sylvia? When it crosses what? Where it crosses which axis? The y-axis, y-intercept. Where does it collide with the y-axis? So where is this one colliding with the y-axis at? Right here. It's crossing the y-axis. Here's our y-axis right here. It's crossing the y-axis right here. What's the y? So this is ordered pair 0, 0. We need the y value of that. So what's our b? B equals 0. So we have y equals mx plus b. Let's write the form. And now let's substitute this information that we arrived at from the graph. M is 3, so we substitute 3 in for m. B is 0, so we substitute 0 in for b. And then, do you think this might be how we would see it in a answer bank? You know, they'd probably clean it up. How could this be cleaned up? Caden? Yeah, this is how they would clean it up. Y equals 3x. We would understand that that plus 0 has been hidden from us, that it's still really there. The y-intercept is 0. It's just been cleaned up. So we might see the answer either like this, or they might clean it up. This is called cleaned up, okay? Let's put that in your notes so you know that. So that just in case you have an equation that you figure to be y equals 3x plus 0 isn't in the answer bank, but y equals 3x is, you're like, oh yeah, they cleaned it up. That's why I don't have the same answer. Okay, now you do this next one on your own, and I want you to use these x values, okay? -4, -2, 0, and 2. Okay, there are the x values I want you to find the y values for. And then we look to see where we are on the y-axis, okay? Negative 4, up to the line. So you're going to both start at the origin and go to -4 and follow up to the line. And then, right, so what would be, so what's the y value at that point? Okay, so 4 and 2. Okay, go to 2 and then follow down. Put a point right there. You can put down, you can go up or you can go down. Just like when you start at the origin, you can go left and you can go right. And, okay. It looks like it. Okay, after you're done, you can look up at my table and see if you have the answers I have, and then you'll know if you're right or not. Okay? Anybody have further questions other than the ones that went around and answered? Anybody else? Not sure? Okay, now I want you to find the slope of that line. You get to pick whichever 2 points you want to use to do rise over run. You pick. Do rise over run to figure out what m is equal to. Okay? Find the m value. Everybody do it. You should all get the same m value no matter which 2 points you choose to go between. So rise over run, and then m, if it can be simplified when you write it as m, give it simplified. Tell me what you got when you're done. Don't look at mine. Tell me what you got. Harley, you look like you're done? Oh, what are you doing then? Trying to figure out how to do it? Okay, wait, what did you get? -1. What was your rise and what was your run?
6.
Same as me? You use the same ones? Okay, cool. So you and I agree anyway. Okay. Who else is done? Ready to share their rise and their run? Hannah, what did you get for rise and run? -4 over 4. What does that equal then? -1. Cool. She got the same slope. How about you, Sammy? What did you get? What's your rise and run? -2 over -2. So what does that equal? Oh, I don't think a negative over a negative is a negative. So which you got to figure out which one of your rise or run did you go in the positive direction? Okay, Caden, what did you do for rise over run? -2 over +2. And what does that equal? -1. Okay, because we should all get the same slope, right? Anybody else have a different one? Okay. You do, Danny? What do you have? -3 over 3, and what does that equal? 1? -3 over 3 is 1. Do you guys agree with Danny? Is -3? You mean -1, right? Yeah. And why should our slope be negative? Can anybody tell me that? Harley, why should it be negative? No, that isn't the reason.
not multiply positive and negative.
Well, we're not doing any multiplying in slope. No, that can't be the reason, even though that is very true. I will not deny that multiplying a positive and a negative equals negative. Sammy?
If you divide a negative,
If you divide with one being negative and the other being positive, you'll end up with a negative, okay? Looking just at the graph, what if we had not found the slope yet, and I said to you, what type of slope should this have? What type should this one have? Sammy? Negative what?
because the line's going.
Because the line is falling across the page, isn't it? It's falling from left to right, so we better end up with a negative slope. That's important that we take that into account. Okay, and then the next thing we do is we say, what is the y-intercept? Well, here's the y-intercept, isn't it? So what is b? 0 again, okay. So now we say, okay, here's my form. Let's just write it down because we just want to memorize this for the rest of our lives. Y equals, what's going in for m? Negative 1, with that x behind it. And what's going in for b? 0. Okay, so this is kind of how it looks. I mean, this is not wrong. But what if, just what if this answer isn't in the answer bank? What would it look like in the answer bank, do you think? What do you think, Wade? What would it look like? Okay, y equals negative 1x. Okay, that's a possibility. But I'm going to tell you that it can be cleaned up even more. Sierra, what do you think? Y equals x. You have to be really careful. If it's just x, what would be the invisible number in front of x? No, it'd be a positive one. So what do we have to do? Harley?
Y equals
Yeah, we can ditch the 1, but we can't ditch the negative sign. So this is very possibly how it would look cleaned up. They would clean up that 1 between the negative sign and the x. That negative x means x is being multiplied by a negative 1, and adding 0 doesn't affect it, so we can hide it, just like we can hide that 1, and that would be its cleaned up answer. So it's important that we understand that if this is our answer, but it's not in the answer bank, we gotta know how to clean it up. Okay? Questions on this? Okay, well on the back side now, on the other side, on lesson 14, we aren't going to do tables, we're just going to go straight to the graph and say, let's figure out the slope, let's figure out the y-intercept, and use those to help us write the equation. Okay? So, if we have to find the slope, what would be helpful? What would be helpful? A couple of points? Yeah. Okay, so let's plot some points that have nice integer coordinates. Well, this one's it's crossing to the origin. I like that one. And then I'm thinking that right here at ordered pair 1, 3, there's a nice spot. Am I right? Do you agree? You guys can see yours better than I can, like your grid lines. So is it crossing through some nice, perpendicular grid lines? Okay, so we're going to do rise over run. I'm going to go up, how many? 3. And I'm going to go over, how many? Oh, see, that isn't what I want to do here. I'm going to go over 1 unit to the right, and that's a plus 1 then, right? So rise 3, run 1. We're going to rename rise over run M, which is slope. What is rise over run slope? They all mean slope. What's 3 over 1 simplified to? 3. Okay. So we now just found our slope, didn't we? M equals 3. Okay, what's the y-intercept? 0. Oh, it's 0 again. Okay, it's crossing through 0, so that means b equals 0. So b equals 0. Okay, what would our equation be? Y equals, what are we going to put in for m? 3. What comes after that 3? X plus 0. What if they don't give the answer that way in the answer bank? Y equals 3x. Okay, there we go. Okay, this line is climbing from left to right. So did we have a good type of slope? We had a positive slope. Should it be positive? Okay, look at the next one. What should our slope be? Positive or negative? It better be negative. So m equals, we already know it better be negative. Huh. Okay, you guys find the slope, the y-intercept, and the equation for this one. Go. I got a slope of negative 2. What did you get? Same thing? Anybody want to disagree with it? I used the origin and I used ordered pair negative 1, 2, and I went from the top one down to the bottom one because it doesn't matter which direction I go. I just got to make sure I use my signs properly. Okay, what's the y-intercept? 0. What's the equation before it gets cleaned up?
-2x plus 0.
Okay, agree? Plus? Okay. What if that answer is not the answer, babe?
Y equals negative 2x.
Okay, y equals negative 2x. Okay. Okay, I see something different about these that we haven't had yet today. Anybody see something different about these? This is a good observation to make because I don't want you to think, you know what? This is always going to be the case. So what observation can you make about this? Sammy, what do you see? They don't go through the origin. So B can't be what then? 0. Okay, so we got to be careful, don't we? Okay, so we're going to, how about we use where it's going through there as one of our points? Because then right away, could we go down, could we say what our B is equal to? What's our B equal to? Where's it crossing the y-axis? -6. Okay, so we already got that part. Now we need what? The slope. So we're going to have to find another point that has good integer coordinates. I'm thinking that this one right here might work. You guys agree with me? Ordered pair 2, -5. Does that look like it's a good one? Okay, well then, you got to figure out the rise over the run. So do that. Let's do it right on your graph. So that you can get your slope, your m. Caden? Okay, and what do you get for the slope is -1?
Yeah.
Okay, how'd you get that? What's your rise and run? Wait a minute. If you go left, would that be a +1? Let me show you what. Here, let me show you what you're saying to me. You're going down 1. Am I right? And you're going left 2. What would that be? -2, wouldn't it? Because you're going in the negative direction on the x-axis. So a -1 upstairs. Oh, I think you also might have done. I don't know what happened. And a -2 downstairs. I have a positive and a positive, you have a negative and a negative. All doesn't matter. What is the slope going to be? A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and a positive divided by a positive is a positive. So our slope is positive. No, 1/2. We can't take any 2's out of a 1. You try and get $2 out of a $1 bill. Try it sometime, see if you can get it to happen. No. So we have to just leave it as 1/2. Sometimes we don't have integer value slopes. So we have fractions. So m equals positive 1/2. So now we're ready to say y equals 1/2 x plus a negative 6 plus our b value. But what if that isn't always showed in the answer key again? What if that's not in the answer bank?
Y equals 1/2 x.
Can we just ditch the negative 6 this time? Yeah, we can't ditch the, adding negative 6 impacts this. It is not like saying plus 0. Plus 0 is like nothing's happening. But plus negative 6, that means the temperature's dropping 6 degrees, you're borrowing $6 from somebody, you're throwing 6 of something away, I don't know what it is, Harley?
It's y equals 1/2 x minus 6.
Yeah, the best we can do is this. That is how we would clean that one up. Plus a negative 6 is the same as subtracting the opposite of negative 6, which is a positive 6. And we get a positive slope. Should we have? These are things we always want to check out. Should we have gotten a positive slope? Yes or no? Yes, because it is climbing from left to right, isn't it? It's rising. Okay, 1 to go here. Well, like I said, when the y-intercept is when it's not crossing through the origin, plot the first point where it's crossing the y-axis then. Because that'll tell you your b value. What's your b value? 4. Okay. B equals 4. Okay, we got that much. Now I kind of like that it's crossing down here on the x-axis nicely at 2. I kind of like that spot. You can pick wherever you want, but make sure that they are integer values for your x and y's because you want to be able to count properly. So let's see, I have to go up 4 and I have to go left 2. That would be minus 2. So my rise over run is positive 4 over negative 2. I get a slope of negative 2. And I'm feeling pretty proud of myself because that line is falling. It's going down from left to right. So I'm kind of proud of myself that I got a negative slope. Okay, and now I'm going to write my equation. So are you. Y equals, help me class.
Negative 2x plus 4.
Okay. What if that answer's not in the answer range?
Y equals negative 2 minus 4.
Aiden? Sammy?
Y equals negative 2x minus 8.
Okay, but they probably won't put it in there like that. Is this what you cleaning up? She just uncleaned it up for us, didn't she? Yeah. So they probably wouldn't put it in there like that, but if they did, if they were crazy enough to do that, you would be right, Sammy. But this one is already cleaned up. There is nothing to clean up in this one, so don't always try to clean them up. If there isn't anything to clean up, is the moral of the story. Okay? Okay, questions at all that are still looming?